All right, this is Edward back on another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I am your host, Edward Anderson. Whew, hopefully, you all having a good December so far, but we're gonna jump right into it. I want to talk. Shout out to the people that's been giving me some behind the scenes information. You know who you are. When it comes to this Michigan situation, we forget we got people like Anton Bernard. We got different people in different parts of the country. So obviously, to them, these conversations are actually local news, which gives us the ability to kind of get more of an inside scoop. That's one of the advantages of us being a sphere, and not just you know um you know a congregation of just individuals. So shout out to y'all that can give me a lot more perspective than I might be able to find on my own doing research on some of these topics. Also, like I said, I finally have kind of a format that I like when it comes to doing uploads. So yeah, I am gonna start firing off uploads. I know I say that, so as far as it's concerned, that's gonna happen when it happens. Like when you see it, you believe when you see it, kind of stuff. And I respect. Okay, that's fine. I respect that. But yeah, that stuff is coming, so I'm excited about that. Something that's simple, but still kind of hits the impact that I kind of wanted to hit. But it will be on the simpler side. But y'all come here to hear me, my opinion on different stuff. So be looking out for that. So, Coach Moore of Michigan University took over for Harbaugh after he went back to the NFL when he had his stint in at Michigan. He messed up. Let me be very clear here. This is not a defense of um, Coach Moore. This is not offensive or former Coach Moore. This is not. I believe his name is Shamar. This is not a defense of him. He messed up. He disgraced himself. He disrespected himself. He made black men look bad, particularly being quote unquote the first black coach in that school. You basically justify for them not to hire another black coach again. Although I do want to remind you that when Ime Udoka went into his when Ime Udoka went into his situation, he got replaced by another black coach that was the assistant coach. So that never say never, but there's very few coaching positions where it comes to the NFL and the NCAA, and you don't want to make it easy for people to use to go after you. This is a perfect example of how you don't look for your manhood in a woman's womb. This is a perfect example of a lot of things. People have kind of talked about that. People will talk about that. I will do a former upload, kind of going point by point. For those of you all that don't know, the former coach of Michigan was recently fired. Michigan's football team was recently fired as of, I believe, either today or yesterday. I know Jada Black was talking about it yesterday due to basically having sexual relations with a staffer, I believe, kind of like one of the lower assistant coaches, a white woman. Um, and basically, they had an investigation on him that they kind of put on pause because essentially they couldn't find any dirt on him because the woman and him wouldn't snitch on each other. This was a consensual relationship. This woman is 31 years old, and that definitely matters because she is not some young teenage girl or some young, young like bright eyed. She is 31 years old. She is grown. She is grown. She's not a teen. She's not a tween. She is 31 years old. She's not a student. None of that. None of that. And by the way, the coach of, so I know I'm getting old, the coach of the school is my age. He's a 39 years old, 39, 40. So he's on the relatively younger end for a coach. He was getting, I think he had $13 million left on his contract. He was getting like $5 million a year, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but he was getting a good amount of money. And basically, Harbaugh left him a good situation. He just pretty much just had to maintain, right? And he got caught up. Like, there's a whole bunch of rumors swirling with that, and he got caught up. That's basically what happened. And not only did he get caught up, this is where it gets into alleged territory. He allegedly went to her house, allegedly threatened to kill himself, kill her. I mean, dude just lost his mind. I said straight up, and I'm putting an APB out there. People need to do an FBA check and make sure he's FBA. I'm not saying he's not, but I know I should have did that before I uploaded this. People need to go ahead and do a background check just to make sure. Because if we're going to take a hit, we need to make sure he's one of ours if we're going to take a hit for that. Because the way he up in white females, that sounds like he ain't never been in some white coochie before. He does have a white wife, by the way. White wife, mixed kids. So that's kind of the outlook. You could tell Michigan couldn't wait to fire him. They didn't want to pay him. When they don't want you there, and they got to play the kind of Cold War politics stuff. Just understand, this is one lesson that I'm gonna say. Understand that they will let you. First of all, and I'm not here to tell obviously I support SYSBM, but one thing you got to keep in mind as a black man is no matter who you date, no matter who you marry, no matter who you have children with, you're gonna always be a black man. Now your kids may be mixed, but you're always gonna be a black man. Especially a black, especially. I mean, it just is what it is. There's no other way of saying that. And the instinct you believe, when you believe that you have graduated, and I'm not saying this dude said anything like racial or anything, but what I am saying is you get in, part of the game is to lull you into this sense of comfort. I got you, B Rain. Appreciate it. I'm gonna announce it in a minute. A sense of comfort, and they will allow you to do BS. They will allow you to do BS. They may not be on every little thing because when they need to, pull that carpet from up under you, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing because because you got to remember they don't want to be legally exposed to being sued. So, for example, he got fired with what's called with cause, and what that means is they don't have to pay him. They don't have to pay him his remaining money. Now, obviously, he's going to try to go to court for that. But the reality is he's got bigger things to worry about. He's got criminal charges to worry about. Because if he went up there threatening that woman's wife, remember, he is a black man. This is a white woman. This is not a lower class white woman. This is a white woman that got the job. One of the reasons why she got the job was because her dad is a scout for the Chicago Bears. Oh, that kind of comes close to home, doesn't it? Chicago Bears. He's a scout. So she's connected in the NFL. She's connected in the sports world in that way. So that makes sense. So this is not, somebody that's not used to being around these types of people. Not somebody, this is not somebody that's like bright-eyed. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Why that's important, and I said that. But dude, it's rumors dude was just, he was just doing the most. And again, when you get low, I think I'm in, obviously y'all know I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and you got Belichick with the girlfriend he had, but they kind of knew that they knew that coming in. So that's different. And she wasn't so much a staffer of the organization as that was somebody that came with Belichick. So, they're going to say that's different, even though truth be told, that's really not different. And in fact, that may make people like Belichick look worse in a situation like this. Because let's be very clear here. This is it. A lot of these coaches, white, be way more exposed than what this dude's exposed. He just got caught up, but he got caught up. That's what happened with him. And essentially what happened is she went and told on him. This is how this really worked. They initially suspected something was going on. Oh, by the way, just to show you, because I'm sure people thinking I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, I'm being hard on this brother, for saying, dang, Ed, you talk about he got caught up, man, you sound like the white boys. This dude got this chick pregnant. This dude allegedly got this chick pregnant. Keep in mind, this is a married man, a married black man with a $5 million. Hold on, let me hold on. So just so we're clear, I'm wrong. He wasn't making 5 million a year. I'm incorrect on that. He was making 6.1 million a year. So he had 2 more years, I believe, on that current contract. So he basically threw 13 million away. This is somebody that's got multiple kids. I want you to understand that. And he's got some bread. He's been clearly a coach for a couple of years now, so he's probably got so $12 million already. But I want you to understand that. Shout out to B Rain with the $20 um, super chat. Keep doing your thing, my G. Much appreciate the support. Make sure you all get the likes up. Likes are free. So this is a guy, yeah. So this is a guy that you're doing, and let me be very clear. It's a lot of these coaches that are doing a lot of different stuff, white and otherwise. It's not just him. He got caught because of a combination of a couple of things. And that woman snitched on him, and obviously she snitched on him to try to save herself and her job. So she's probably gonna have to be fired. She's going. I'm pretty sure she's gonna go too. But they're probably gonna give her like a sunset deal. They can't let her stay doing that because how is that gonna look? You got the coach fired. People gonna feel some type of way because this was a consensual situation. And I want you to understand that. Yes, she got like he allegedly got her pregnant twice. But one time, it was literally a DoorDash person. This is out in the news that literally basically snitched, which started the first investigation, and said they delivered a Plan B. So let's be clear, she's a whore. I'm not even sugarcoating that. She is not a victim. This is a white female that wanted a dude in authority. And understand her, if you look at her, she's a lily blonde woman, the type of blonde women these white dudes like. And she comes from a intentioned family, and you getting with a black dude. All of dudes you can get with, this is the dude you gonna try to get with, knowing he's married to another white woman. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting for the white boys to debunk, because for the white boy, and look, man, the dude's dude is obviously a fit guy, but he ain't like he's not Ime Adoka. He looks like a football coach. So yeah, have fun, white boys, because this ain't one of them. This ain't that both his wife and that girl doesn't look like the typical mud shark that they always like to. Oh, this is a mud shark. This chick, she's you could tell she deals with baby. This is not one of those. It looks like that. This is one of these chicks that can be in a country music song. So you already know that's gonna bother them. And it is what, see, this is why we can't give them those jobs. Because if we give them those jobs, they already are having sex with our women. Look at what they'll do even then. Keep in mind, he was with that white woman when he was hired for that job, as far as his wife. Well, I mean, if they can localize a particular driver that did that, but the truth is, um, that yeah, you're absolutely right. But that's kind of DoorDash can't really. I mean, he could. I mean, number one, can he prove that's where they got the information from? Because to prove that, he's got to prove that he actually ordered a Plan B. And if he proves he ordered a Plan B, then that proves A, he was cheating. B, you can pretty much assume why did he get the Plan B. It corroborates the story. So it's kind, and then it's like, um, yeah. And then is there really privacy rules on stuff like that? Especially, I don't know. I don't know. So that would be tricky, but that exposes him a lot more than that exposes DoorDash. But yeah, that's not cool that you got a DoorDash driver doing that. And I'm like, the only way I could see a person doing that is that there's an incentive for them to do that, meaning they were looking for information. No, I don't think that was Tommy that came up with that. No, that's a white term. That's a white term. That's something Tommy got from them. That's a white term. Just like burn a coal, pay the toll. Which it doesn't even bother. At the end of the day, calling these chicks names doesn't really bother them. What bothers them if they lose resources, and that's not really something they've demonstrated they're actually willing to do. But my point is, the reason why I want to bring up the pregnancy stuff, and that's alleged, so don't quote me on that, but bring that up is because this is not somebody who's being pressured this and that. When you letting somebody fuck you raw to the point where you getting pregnant, that's definitely consensual in a situation like that. Oh, I don't want to hear that. And and the reason why I wanted to do this video is not really just because y'all have probably seen it on the news. Some of y'all been sending this stuff to me. Y'all have seen videos on it. That the main reason why I wanted to do a video on this and do it live is because I want to make it very clear she's not a victim. She needs to be fired too. I'm not saying she needs to be quote unquote disgraced, but she definitely needs to be let go. Women have to stop. The problem with the Me Too stuff is you essentially have created a situation where women can throw pussy at men and then they can come back and then reverse consent after the fact, saying they were victims. That's bullshit. I don't care what any of you females got to say, and you pandering ass dudes. I don't believe all women. This chick this chick snitched to save her job. Because remember, the reason why he didn't get fired earlier is because she lied for him. I don't want to hear about the fear. This is a white woman from an upper class background that is connected. It was not hard to get this dude fired. This dude does not have you pinned down 24/7. Oh, well, didn't he go to her? Of course, yes, he went to her house because she got him fired. And he panicked. This dude's about to lose his life. I'm not justifying none of that, but that does not mean he had control over her like that. If you don't kiss my ass with that bullshit. And this is not about. This is no different. Just for anybody that wants to get upset and get in their feelings, you can go to hell. But just to give you something to lean on, remember that CEO that got caught at that I forget what the band is called. I don't think it's Maroon 5. But it was some band that they showed them on the Megatron video, the Mega video, and then they were holding each other, and she was like, oh, and they both got fired, and he was a CEO, and she was a high-end executive, I think, in HR. Yeah, he wasn't controlling her either. I believe they both were married. So if that's not control, and they both got terminated, then this is the same situation. It's not that much different. Dude is 38, she's 31. I don't want to hear that. And that's the problem. And I'm not saying that's always the case, but what I'm saying is in this situation, that is the case. She knew what she was doing. She dealt with the relationship until it wasn't beneficial to her. Now, probably because she snitched them out, she's probably going to get some money. They're probably going to give her like a payout saying, hey, you're not going to be able to be here, but we'll make it worth it. Maybe like 2 years or something, 2 years of money. They'll probably have to do that. They can't just get rid of her, especially since she's connected and she's connected. They'll probably give her some sunset deal. Be like, you can't be here. You're not going to be able to be a part of school. You just can't. Probably keep it quiet so she might be able to go somewhere else, even though people that know are going to know. Coldplay. Yeah. I actually wasn't that far apart. Coldplay. Yeah. So, because first of all, if she stays, people are gonna feel some type of way about that. Because people that know what went down, and they may not agree with him, but at the same time, they're gonna be on some. They're gonna kind of be on some like, if you did that before, you'll do it again, type shit. Because you really got to think how, like, that's not something that just happened. That's a chick. Man, like, for real, we live in a system right now where the women get to basically fuck what they want to fuck, like they're fucking flowering honey and shit on plants, and then turn around and then come and claim victim after the shit gets heated. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. She should have went to them as soon as he approached her about a sexual relationship. That's what she was supposed to do. She chose to engage in a sexual relationship over time. This wasn't a quick thing. Over time, to the point in which she got pregnant. Allegedly. Yeah, he's my age. He's 38, 39. So this is not no all the bullshit. She knew he was married. This is the like this stuff happens in the work. This stuff still happens in the workplace, by the way. They may not do it in the same job, but they definitely do it in the same career fields. Like women do not care if men are married. But ultimately what you're gonna see it's gonna be interesting to see how people cover this. Because on the one hand, you if you start covering it from a racial standpoint, I mean, the dude is a married dude, so you can't run the card. Oh man, see, this is a part of leaving white women and blah 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 blah. You can't play that game because he's still married with kids. If you play the game up, see, this is the problem. Black men are not such a discipline. Well, that opens it up. It's a whole bunch of white boys that be doing a whole bunch of stuff. Make no mistake, Penn State was not the only one. It's a lot of stuff that's public information too, by the way. It just doesn't get promoted and pushed up. But stuff that's been covered, it's like a set it and forget it type of stuff. Information. If you go look it up, I'm sure if you do a chat GBT search or other coaches, other scandals, it'll come up fairly recent. They just do it more on the quiet. They cover it on the quiet as well. It wasn't just a white dude. What got him fired was her confirmation. It wasn't a white dude. Some I'm not talking about what initiated the investigation. I'm talking about what got him fired. I'm talking about what got him fired. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm not going into all because they had an investigation before. They paused it, and then they recently started it back up. Real basically, they kind of said, "Okay, we got what we need," and because the way they did it, they fired him quickly, and that with cause thing means they're not paying him. But see, he got potential criminal charges he got to worry about too. Like the worst thing he could have ever did was go to her house and talk about I'm gonna kill you and kill myself. I don't know what you expect to do that. That sounds like a dude who just lost his mind. I don't know what you expected to do. And yeah, it is bad. I mean, for you to embarrass yourself, embarrass your wife, you're with a white woman with kids, yeah. You basically gave her the keys to basically liquidate your ass and go and do whatever. Yep, Rick Pitino was another situation. Yeah. So, they can play that game all they want to, but trust me, they're way more exposed because they don't get watched like we do. So there are way more of them that are exposed on stuff like this than black coaches. So it's going to be interesting to see how the media covers it. Arthur, shout out to Arthur Will. He said Mike Tomlin needs to stay for. I mean, I'm assuming that they got rid of everybody in that culture. And Penn State finally came back around, so we'll see. But yeah, I wouldn't go to Penn State. Not with that reputation. And the thing is, they probably would pay him well just to try to get far away from that. I'm not support Islam, but that's the one thing I can agree with them about female witnesses. We're not gonna know. Oh, I mean, you'll know if you look for it. But you know what I mean, yeah, because even from a practical standpoint, they can't really keep her. No matter how much power a guy has, is no match for Young. I mean, the thing about it is, the issue is he was very sloppy about what he did. Because there's like stuff out there that he was messing with a lot of people on campus. Maybe not students, but like a lot of females, staffers. And then when you get stupid like that, like, dude, I drive through some of these universities like every day. These universities are not that big, yo. It really isn't. Like I know the NC State football coach lives in my hometown, or the town I grew up in. Like this stuff, like is Michigan was looking to get rid of him, and Michigan was on the down spiral since the yeah. I mean, they were looking to get rid of him, and you made it easy to get rid of him because truth be told, if they were looking to get rid of him, there's ways that you could have did that and still went to another school. There's ways you could have did that. He could have worked out a deal, an amicable deal, saying, okay, this is what I want. This is how much money I want. I mean, and let's keep it real. That sign bullshit, that bullshit could have happened under Harbaugh. I think he just got caught up in it. That's another thing, that sign shit that happened with Michigan. And I think he's the fall guy for that too. But at the same time, this is you cannot be this sloppy with a position like that. But ultimately, y'all have heard. I'm sure y'all have heard people like wag their finger at him. But I want to highlight the fact that you got people, you got some people, and I have seen a lot of women, white women or women, say that she should be fired too. So I'm not gonna act like I have not seen that. But at the same time, you still got some people talking about he got himself fired. She didn't. No, she tried to save her job on some weasel shit. Which look, I'm not applauding the move. The game is the game. I get why she made the move, but at the end of the day, she's not no innocent sweet victim that just caught up in it all. She is in her 30s. You go to hell with that. And you are not. You are somebody. She is not some Messiah. This is a woman that, again, her dad is I believe is scout for the Bears. This is not somebody that's just bright eyed. This the no. Yeah, because they would have worked out a deal where he could get a good amount of his money. He could get a good amount of money, and then he could go to maybe another school. Because honestly, I mean that job would have been a good stepping stone for him to go somewhere else. Yeah, yeah, I don't know why somebody mentioned that. I get the Penn State thing, but yeah, Mike Tomlin, yeah, he would have left already. So you're going to see a lot of noise because there's a lot of moving parts to this conversation. There's a lot of moving parts to this topic because this dude kind of lost his mind when, I mean, you act like you really didn't know that they were, like you didn't know the Cold War or something. That's why I'm saying dude was way comfortable. There's a lot of lessons to be learned and stuff like this, especially for like coaches that are former football players too, because it's a different dynamic. NCAA is a different dynamic than the NFL. Like definitely, like learn from this brother's mistake. Man, because Mel Tucker got fired for Michigan State, two similar things. Yeah, because I told you all, like I said, when I said it about Coach Stefan, like Stefanski's goofy ass, the Browns coach. Like you are way more a part of the show as a coach in the NCAA. You all know that probably more than me than in the NFL. So, if it's about your ego, NCAA is your place, especially if you can win. Especially saying, oh, I was an NFL. I mean, it's better to be in a better school that's more known than to sit here and be in the fucking Browns, unless we're talking about money. Honestly, if Stefanski was smart, Stefanski would have got a win. If Stefanski was really smart, Stefanski would deal with Shador for a year, get a winning record, and just leave, or set it up and then just for 2 years and then just leave and go to college and get more money and make it about him. Yeah, man, these chicks, like, again, the problem is women can basically throw pussy everywhere and then just say they a victim, especially if they're white. But a lot of women can get away with doing that. Black women only running that problem when they're trying to do that on white men. That's when they run into a problem. But other than that, they can usually get away with it too. Yeah, like that's bullshit. That's bullshit because that's what they're doing because they're fucking up a lot of money. Money. Yeah, because the problem with Penn State it hasn't been that long since that scandal. It hasn't really been that long. Exactly. I've seen it. I've seen it. So I mean, you sit here, especially I've seen it. So it's kind of like that's why I said what I said, before. But yeah, man, you got that out there. You got I still haven't seen the 50 Cent Diddy thing, Diddy documentary. I saw that Supergirl trailer. It's good. It's a good trailer. It's a good trailer, man. It's just, I mean, it's obvious where he's going. He's going back to Guardian of the Galaxy. Just insert super. So the formula is there. The formula can actually work. The formula can work, but it's gonna look like. I mean, it'll be good for that. It'll be good, but I don't know. I mean, she seems solid, but it's I really wish they would have got somebody more attractive for the fucking role. And people can say, "Oh my god, yeah," but man, I'm really, I gotta say this, man. I'm really getting tired. I am getting tired of this, because she had a thing where like she was wearing like basically a suit, but it was real baggy. I'm really fucking getting tired of this genderless. I want to be ugly because of the male gaze bullshit. Then you get fucking pissed, like what Scarlett Johansson kind of pulled. And then when that Jurassic Park movie she did was not a good movie, but then they get mad when these movies flop and say it's because of men. If it's because of men, then actually do what the fuck you want to do to make men come see the movie. You can't not cater to men and then get mad at men when they don't see your shit. That's retarded. But that's what women keep doing. Like this Billie Eilish, I got titties, but I don't want to show nothing because I want to be this genderless, gender fluid shit, and then think the money is not gonna support that. And I keep saying, motherfuckers got AI now. Motherfuckers are just not gonna buy your shit. Motherfuckers gonna start modding that shit. Oh, well, you're a get the fuck out of here. Bitches are not going to see rom coms for dudes that they don't like how they look. Bitches are not gonna see certain shit. And the funny thing is, you all are not doing that with the men. You are not making the men still have to hit a certain standard, as far as physicality. The women don't got but the women were playing this game the bitches are gonna see Supergirl, but they're gonna see Jason Momoa. Versus what we're looking at is a chick that it no ass, no titties, face ain't really a face card, declines more than it doesn't. This tomboyish bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. And as an actress, she might, where she's going with the role is probably gonna be good. But it's like it looks stupid. I mean, even look at the guy that plays Superman. I mean, what the fuck are we talking about? No, it doesn't always have to be that. That actress that played Lois Lane, I actually think did a good job. I actually think she did a good job. But that's not essential to who Lois Lane necessarily is. But like, come on, man. Like all this, and it's kind of like, okay, you'll wear the skirt, but the bitch gonna be ugly. Six at best, Supergirl. Nah, she like a five. To be a six, you gotta have something that pops. You gotta have an ass. She got something. She ain't got nothing. I mean, honestly, what's her name? Benoist, that chick. She played an older Supergirl, but I mean, attractiveness level, she was definitely there. She was definitely there. So nobody's asking for somebody to be a goddamn, supermodel or some shit. But goddamn, it's almost like you picked her just because she's playing Jane all the way through. The trailer's good though, but the trailer is basically a Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain Marvel powers, but with Supergirl in it. That's what it is. That's what it is. And James Gunn can execute a movie like that great. And I mean, I'm not mad at that. I'm not really mad at that because that's his style. Hopefully he doesn't go stupid with the music. I typically, but I mean, it's not like it's not a lot of Supergirl movies. So if you're gonna do it, you need to execute it well. And I'm not mad at, especially since that's his style anyway. It'd be different if he was just swagger jacking somebody else's style, but that's his style and it'll work. And honestly, it'll work. It'll work. Let's see how that applies to DC. It'll work. And it's actually also smart that you're kind of making it so her stuff is more off world. So you can kind of keep Superman on world, do off world. That's smart. So from a business standpoint, I mean, it hits the boxes. I'm not gonna lie. The actress, the actress is not. She seems like her interpretation of the role is interesting. But Supergirl being drunk, all that. I mean, But the thing is, her attractive, and people say, "Oh, that's very shallow." I don't give a fuck. I really don't. You know, I really don't. I really don't. I'm tired of that shit. I mean, I don't. Me. I don't give a fuck because I got AI, so I can modify that shit as I need to. But it's kind of like you want my money. I'm not about to sit here and then you just socially engineer shit to where, oh man, the problem is you shouldn't want an attractive. You can get the fuck out of my face with that and not get my money. It's really that fucking serious. Like I'm not arguing with shit like that no more. And I would advocate for other men, don't argue with it. Just don't buy. Let your money speak for itself. They're talking about the economy, like 50, the top 50, the top 20% are really accounting for 50% of the spending. Just you got that's the only thing these people, the only thing these people understand is for you not to economically invest in certain things, and then for what you do economically invest in. Like people, like especially with AI and stuff, people are gonna create stuff that people want to see. They are. As this AI video and stuff like that gets better, people are gonna create stuff that they want to see. And if the corporations want to socially engineer, then they can do that. But you make them foot that entire bill. Now, I'm not advocating to not see the movies. I actually think the fundamental of the movie is good. What you call this Lobo and all that. I think look at the trailer, it looks solid. I'll probably see the movie. I'll definitely see the movie. But I'm not gonna call out the fact that it's kind of like, yo, I'm really getting tired. Yeah, the other chick that played like Supergirl in that Flash movie, she was all right. But doing the well, she was supposed to play a rendition of Superman. That's where that came from. Seriously though, that's the only thing you like. It's not even about art. Like I'm with what's his name, Star Wars Theory. I'm like, it's not even about arguing no more. At this point, it's not even arguing no more. At this point, you just don't support it. And then but you make clear with the younger generation that they're selling you trash. No, they're starting to, because see, the problem is these Becky's are starting to mess these white boys up too. So that's starting to change. And I think this is a good test case. The only thing I can see them trying, because I personally don't, from a practical reason, see why she would still be there. Yeah, but that Billy, I mean, every woman has their own individuality to do that, and obviously Billy Ike's got to be on tour and doing all of that. But that shit, where the male get the fuck out of here. Then don't ask for money. Then the same women talk about a man is supposed to take care of a woman, are the same bitches trying to say that the male gaze get the fuck out of here. Like there's no such thing as a female gaze. Like bitches don't want dudes over 6 feet. I mean, you got to, man. I haven't even talked about it. You got a fucking thing called a tall tour, which was apparently created by a white dude. Because he's tall, he's like 6'9", he said, and this was like a meetup kind of thing. And so shout out to him for creating that. But you got black women. Of course, black women are gonna want to be a part of it because these motherfuckers. And so the controversy with this quote unquote tall tour that went in through Charlotte, it's been in New York, Chicago, but Charlotte was a recent stop. And it's like it's from a meetup to a big deal. This is becoming a big deal. Yeah, it's a tall tour because you got bitches that they want a concentration of tall niggas in one spot. And what made it a controversy, and this is another video I gotta pump out, was a whole bunch of short women. So women that are 5'6" or under. So the official thing is if you're 5'7" under, as a female, you'll be considered tall. And all the women are like 5'10" and up. They're mad because, a whole bunch of short women went up there and turned it into like kind of like a dating kind of thing. And they're upset because they know a lot of tall dudes like shorter women. So they get upset. So rather than getting on here and advocating for why they should pick you and not pick the short women, like for instance, you pick a short chick, you liable for them kids to be short. You all are saying, see, they can't come up here and talk about, oh, you're discriminating against tall women because you'll look stupid. I'm surprised 6 guys haven't talked about it. She may have. You'll look dumb, though, doing that because the short women are not going to co-sign that. So now you can't make it a gender argument anymore. Like, could you imagine if women got up here and said that tall dudes want short women because you all want a child? Could you imagine if they started saying that? The short women, and when I say short women, we're talking about anybody that's like 5'5" and under, which is the majority of women. Oh yeah, they'll start talking mad shit. They'll give the men cover without look goofy. Again, sexual politicking. But nah, these chicks are tight. I didn't see. I done got about like 8 TikTok videos of them. They tight. Oh man, y'all are selfish. Y'all can't let us have nothing. Yeah, I agree with that 5'8". Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't. I did. I saw it, but I didn't see the video. Oh, y'all can't let us have nothing. We didn't talk to her. And I'm like, yo, could you imagine if we did the thin woman tour? Could you imagine if we did the fat ass tour? Y'all wouldn't like that. Like anything that, like for instance, this is the thing that kills me. Even though I understand, when you understand why the dude created it, he created it for just tall people to meet up. But the way women are gonna use it, they're gonna use it as a sexual hunting ground. And even other women have admitted that. Even other women have said, y'all not gonna act like y'all just go in there and it's nothing sexual related. Y'all not gonna act like you all are going to this tour like, oh, y'all are not looking for a man at all. Like that's not in the front of your mind. If you know there's going to be a concentration of dudes that are going to be at least 6 foot and up. You remember what I told you all. If you're 6 foot, like 6 foot, you're like 1 in 20. If you're 6'2", you're like 1 in 100. If you're 6'4" and up, you're like 1 in 1,000. Remember that. Remember that. So you think if there's not a thing that's gonna have nothing but tall dudes, you know short dudes ain't gonna go there because they're gonna look stupid. Short, any dude that's under 6 foot, it's like 5'10" under 6 foot, it's just gonna look dumb and they go clown them. So yeah, them dudes ain't even gonna sign up for that. Yeah, of course. And another thing is, again, women, when these women are talking about the bad situations they're in, yet all they're doing is they're picking on goofy shit like that. And they can pick for whatever they want, but don't think the society's supposed to feel sorry for you when you don't get the other outcomes that you want. He said, yeah, what's up? Let me see if y'all hit up the cash out. Crap. All right. Yeah, I mean, I ain't worried about Bonnie Blue. That's a white person's problem. Yeah, I could understand that about what you're saying, the boomers. Yeah. Because even with this anime stuff, that's what them young kids are on now. But they don't want to do that because that's not their experience. I mean, I could see. I mean, the movie is set up to succeed. I mean, it really is. I think this James Gunn, um, and James Gunn has traditionally done a good job casting women when he's not biased. So I mean, I'm sure she can act and do the role and the vision of what he wants. She can fulfill that. And another thing with James Gunn that I'm thinking about it is getting an actress like her can beat some of the allegations James Gunn has traditionally had, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yeah, but they're not Swift. They're not loud about that. They're not loud. Like that's not something you really see go viral because other women are gonna run interference with that. They're much more likely to say to do the pedo shit with younger when you're dealing with like an age gap north of 10 because when you start doing the short shit, it's obvious you're just upset and the women and the short women because they see that as a sexual threat to them will come out and they will come out and even outside the men they're protecting their own sexual access, so yeah they're gonna shut that shit down quick. They're gonna shut that shit down quick. That's why stuff doesn't get loud. They can only get so loud with that one because other women will shut that down and there's nowhere for you to run because it's not like they're saying that these the women have like a daddy fetish or something. They're not gonna say that. They're not gonna say that. So yeah, they say that under their thumb. They say that under their nose. They don't. That's not gonna go viral because women are gonna check that. And it's important to understand a lot of these dynamics because the real issue is that they're mad because it's a sexual access issue. It's a sexual politicking issue. It's like you're trying to make it a moral issue. It's not a more like saying that if you're 6 foot and you want to like let's say you're 6 foot, the chick is a year younger than you, but you want a short chick. Like Lee Attorney has talked about that he likes shorter women. You want a short woman? Oh, that's because you a pedo for real. Like you understand how fucking stupid that, especially in the fuck. So they just go there. And honestly, women need to start getting real checked for that shit. Superman movie was all right. I mean, I personally like Man of Steel more, but that's just me. But I thought it was good for what James Gunn was trying to do. But I think Superman is way too naive though. But apparently this is like his first couple of years doing it, so I'll give it that. Okay, nah, man. Congrats to you, man. Gap Tooth Gangs. Ed, you see our Bonnie Blue. Last thing I'm gonna talk about. That's crazy, Archer. He said, "I'm 6 foot. My girl is 4'11". That's crazy. Cause you getting to the point where even if you put your head all the way down, you can't even kiss her. That's crazy. It didn't suck. That's a lie. It didn't suck. It didn't suck. That is a complete lie. They didn't. They did Mr. Terrific. You know they could have did better, but they didn't do him dirty. They did Mr. Terrific good. They gave Mr. Terrific a good scene, like a good sequence. He was in the movie. Lois Lane was good. Everything around Lex Luthor, the dude that played Lex Luthor, was surprisingly good. Obviously Nathan Fillion did a good job with Guy Gardner. Very great interpretation. The only thing that really sucked was the chick that played Hawk Girl. That was just stupid the way they did that. Hawk Girl. I mean, that was just dumb the way they did that. Other than that, that's really the only real after part of the movie. Everything else is pretty solid. Hey man, you gotta get in when you fit in, Swift. It is what it is. I'm not trying to talk shit about taller women at all. I'm talking about the sexual politics of it. When these women get on here and they be talking about what's right and what's not right, what they really talking about is what they sexually want. That's what nobody's talking about. That's what nobody's honest about. They get on here and they gaslight to death, acting like they try to use morality to promote their own sexual politics, and that's bullshit. That's what I'm talking about. So I use this as a perfect example of how that tall tour, which I'm gonna do a former video on that and give you some videos on it, like clips on it. But that tall tour is a perfect example of how they do that. Them getting mad about that. And that's one thing that even the purple pill, nobody brings that up. That a lot of people, when they say the stuff that they say, this is sexual political shit. They that that's not even a term that's brought up in any of the spaces. They just act like all these people are speaking at face value. That they're all talking, that they don't have like a hidden reason why they're saying what they're saying. It's all, they're just giving their opinion. No. No, they're not just giving their opinion. They are not just giving their opinion. These people are sexually politicking and sexually campaigning. And what they're trying to do is shame other sexual choices in favor of others. It's really bullshit. And that shit needs to be called out a lot more, and that shit needs to be scrutinized a lot more. Because a lot of people, they takes be based on what they want. They want to validate their own sexual preferences, or they want like that shit to be the norm. Yeah, they did a good job with Mr. Terrific. Oh yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about was Nick Fuentes and this Candace Owens situation. So I'm not like, Tim Pool, one, he's conservative. podcasters, like, he went the fuck off. And you know, on the one hand, with Candace Owens, just like, yo, you act like you a widow. But on the other hand, one thing I don't want nobody to forget is when Nymph Fuentes said the N word, said, you know, hard hearted, right in front of these black women, and these black women thought it was funny. These black women thought that shit was funny. I want you to remember that. He said right in their face, and they still would have gave him some pussy. You can tell that the energy over there was that if they gave him some black pussy, he would like black women. And that's how a lot of y'all be getting packed up, having mentalities like that. I didn't see Pearl on Lapeef. And nobody said shit about that. You didn't see Umar come out here and say that's some goofy black. You didn't see none of that. Everybody have a black. That would have been an inverse situation. A white woman, like that white woman be talking racist all the time. Motherfucker would lost their mind. Exactly. Which gave him cover. It's like, what are you trying to prove? Like, I would love to interview those bitches and really, in fact, I couldn't do it because all they're going to do is get stupid. You'd have to get a white man to interview them and ask them the hard questions. Because if we do it, they just going to get disrespectful and I'm going to slap the shit out of them. Cheyenne Bryan is scamming. Now, you know who they don't got on these tours? You know who they don't got on these tours? You know who you haven't seen on Nick Cannon, Shannon Sharp, Paul Pierce? Take a guess at who I'm talking about. Who should be on these tours that ain't on these tours? Take a guess. Exactly. Love Dorsey. Good job, Gap Tube Games. Gold fucking star. The first try. Love fucking Dorsey. Love Dorsey is big enough to justify having her on these shows. Could you imagine Love Dorsey on Corey Holcomb? No, I didn't have Sarah on a couple. Sarah's been on Nick Cannon's joint. No, she's on some of these big platforms, but she ain't on the big ones. What's up, Vincent? You would never. Now, she was on Anton's junk. Anton is at 1 million subs. Anton's like at 1.1 million now. Anton is at 1.1 million subscribers. Ain't that a bitch? You know, I'm sure y'all like, I know a lot of y'all get annoyed as fuck when I eat when I'm talking. You know, it is what it is. I'll upload it in the fucking community tab. But I made some chicken and dumplings. Yeah, that is crazy. He passed poor man. Somebody said, "Oh, you can't make chicken." I made that shit from scratch too. By the way, no box bullshit. The dumplings could be better. I should have added more salt and seasoning in them. But other than that, everything else is fire. Man, these bitches with YouTube, and I ain't had no air fryer, no bullshit like that. I did use my New Wave cooktop though. Got the recipe from my brother too. Shout out to Savage Kitchen. That brother is awesome. This nigga calls brown sugar light skin sugar. Ain't that a bitch? I'm gonna tell you something. When you know how to cook, at least well enough to where you can put shit together with a recipe and shit, without necessarily like measuring, you need the exact measurements, you just know. You really be like, these bitches can't cook, man. You dumb hoes could have a fucking YouTube channel cooking, because that's how novel it is. I mean, it is, but it ain't. Cooking is just knowing a proper sequence and doing stuff, how to follow the recipe, and when to do shit. And like AI, the more you do it, the better you get. Like, you know, it sounds good though, right? From scratch. But pretty much, in fact, niggas be like, this nigga lying. This nigga didn't really do that shit. I ain't lying. Basically, I got a small thing of chicken thighs. Debone that shit. A small thing of chicken thigh. Debone that shit. So take a knife and cut out the bones. Which, by the way, is a lot easier than you think it is. Easier than you think it is. Cut the fucking bones out. Cut the fucking bones out. Put that shit in a frying pan. Fry that shit up. Keep the skin on. Flip that shit. Fry that shit up. Flip it. Keep the grease and all that comes with it. A little bit of olive oil. Stick of butter. Garlic powder, onion powder, sage, red chili flakes, salt, pepper, garlic. Mix that shit up. Put broth in there. Put heavy cream in there. Mix that shit up. Throw the vegetables in there. Let that shit, cook for like 20 minutes. The dumplings is where the dumplings, two things I didn't mess up. It was actually really good. But the thing is, they weren't salty enough, and they weren't. Oh yeah, put a little bit of flour in that initial thing. I need to make those more seasoned, and I made them. They were kind of big. It's chicken. I gotta check out your channel. What you talking about? Because actually, I'm looking at doing some intros. I may get some from them. I mean, I can do my own intros with AI because I'm actually looking at do because I bought that year subscription, a StreamYard. So that's how a lot of these uploads about to happen. But see, the thing about I may do it in the outro because the thing about intros is, I'm not trying to have people wait to see a video. I want to jump right into it. If I do the intro, I may do the intro while I'm talking, and then we jump right into it. But that's not how StreamYard works. I mean, it's like the thing about it is like my mom low key taught me like two things. Where I learned how to cook was I worked in the deli when I was in high school. So I worked in the deli for like 3 years. Well, 2 years, 3 years, 3 years. So that's partly where I learned as far as basic shit. I worked in the deli and I worked in the bakery. So I actually understand the principles of like baking and stuff too. And then I worked under, let me tell you how fucking crazy. No cap, like for real, no lie, man. I worked with a Jewish kid. I mean, a Jewish for real dude. Not no, he more white than Jewish. And then I worked for, and then the supervisor we had was a German chick. And when I say a German chick, I mean straight out of Germany type German chick. And she had that kind of German, you got to do everything the right way bullshit, too. It was funny. Now that I think about it, and then I told y'all about some Hobart ovens and where that shit comes from. So, yeah, man. I'm now thinking about that. I'm like, God damn, that shit's crazy as hell now I'm thinking about it. But the point is, when you know, like, everything, like, when you actually put something together and it's actually on point, you gain confidence to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And then, but yeah, man, as far as like the women, the reason why they don't like to cook is because they see that as domestic work. And the women basically corrupted them into thinking that shit, that shit is just service. And it's like, yo, at the end of the day, y'all be doing that for them white boys, maybe not cooking, but y'all look stupid. When in actuality, cooking, like, knowing how to cook is a low key for a female, especially if you're a female and you in shape. You pretty much in shape. I don't even mean you gotta be like fit, but you in shape. Knowing how to cook is a fucking flex. That's actually something you can brag about. Now, granted, I don't trust bitches because if you put food, I said it on another stream. If you put something in my shit, I'm you're not long for this world. That's all I got to say. So, outside of that, all that I don't know how to cook shit. That's like a nigga saying I don't know how to fight. It's literally that bad. Like if a man tells you I don't know how to fight, what is that? You're gonna say he's less of a man, he's a weak man, all this other bullshit. That's what you're gonna say. But if a bitch says she don't know how to cook, my thing is, shit, even women talking about they don't know how to put on makeup or they don't know how to clean their coochie, they gonna try to find some empowerment in not knowing how to do that. Well, who am I cooking for? I don't know how to dress. I don't know. It's crazy. When you really think about it, that's the goofy shit a lot of these chicks be out here saying. I don't know how to do that. What do I need to know how to do that for? You need to know how to do these things to teach your fucking kids how to do, your daughters how to do these things. You need to know how to, cook. If you don't know how to clean, how do you teach your kids how to clean? Even if they cleaning for you in the house. If you don't know how to cook, how the fuck are you gonna cook for your kids? You gonna go get fast food and expect them like this is the goofy shit. Like the economic shit too. Like black women really act like these hoes like, bitch, you don't know how to do your own nails. Hell, damn half of y'all don't know how to do your own. A lot of y'all don't know how to do your own hair because y'all just go put weave on it. These are practical things. These are not like, but what y'all do is y'all use doing it for a man as an excuse so you don't have to do it. So you hide behind that shit, talk about what black men ain't did. But see, the problem is now when you got to deal with other men, now you look dumb as fuck because their women did do it. So you all don't have the ability to compete. This is why they get so viscerally angry with Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya walks like a black girl, talks like a black girl, without no I hate men bullshit. But she's not male identified. She is not a chick. It's like, oh, she's just male identified. She could pick me. No, she's not. That's bullshit. As soon as she got in that streamer university, she hopped on her nigga, which is some Keisha shit. But yeah, when she got attacked, yeah, black women can't stand her because it ain't about none of that shit. Now you look at all these light skinned bitches that these black women be worshiping this shit. Again, they're full of shit. And so Kaya gotta be in the same, gotta basically suffer through the community because niggas are weak as fuck. And they don't want to sit here and say, yo, we like this bitch, and that's all it's needed. Here's the thing, let's just be true. Let's tell the truth as black men. Let's tell the truth as black men. If a black woman, y'all don't make it a good climate for black women to be male identified. If a black woman is male identified, she is in a very hostile environment. Because it's not like the black women can sit here and say, I get this from black. I'm not even talking about hoeing. Like, I get this from black men because I know how to make black men feel good about themselves, and I get this, which basically reinforces how she really feels. That's why it's easy for a lot of these white chicks to fuck on black men and then turn around and then say a whole bunch of racial shit. Because that's really how they feel. They just have this sexual need that they need to be met. But see, the difference with women like that is women like that see the benefit of getting even dudes that they may not be sexually attracted to, getting them on their side because of the environment. And but see, because we're in a matriarchy, we have allowed it to be a hostile environment and a very hostile climate for women that would be male identified. They're going to be attacked and they're not going to be protected. Why? Because these niggas don't believe in protecting against black women, which is why I keep saying we're in a matriarchy. Niggas are matriarchal minded. They are very matriarchal minded, and they try to act like they're not because they don't want to hold that, but they are. I may not be black, but even I was rocking with Kaya. A lot of people was rocking with Kaya's content internationally. They had babies that didn't even speak English talking about cooking with Kaya. I don't think people really first of all, black women had so much to learn. Some black men too, from a marketing standpoint, when you look at that Cooking with Kaya, that was a phenomenon. It really was. Black women had other races, like their kid, I'm literally you had white women doing videos, like Hispanic women too. I've seen some Asian women, which are the real, by the way. You need to get engaged in TikTok. Yo, I don't know what's going on with this H Mart shit. You got the East Asians coming at the white folks because of the H Mart bullshit. And then you got the South Asians talking about the East Asians need to shut the fuck up because they just as bad as the white folks. You got the Asians versus white folks. The Wasians, for the most part, Wasian people are kind of just sitting there watching. But you do got some saying something about their own experience being half white, half Asian. Then you got the Blasian and South Asians talking about y'all just as bad. The fuck? And then y'all got the nerve to bring black people into it to try to act like, yeah, we understand what the black people are saying now. Oh, that's the thing. I'm Asian, but Asian passing. No, they had people talking about that too, man. It's funny, man. Which all these things have that kind of has its own advantage, especially if you're in like Asian countries. But yeah, man, they was bringing up some shit. One chick was talking about, yeah, I'm half Japanese, but I had to stop saying that because technically my mom speaks full Japanese, but she's Korean, and I be like, damn. I don't know how I got into that rabbit hole, but that was some interesting shit. It was one white chick, one Asian chick, or she's half Asian, half white. Dad's white. Asian mom, but she said she starts the video off saying why white men, Asian women shouldn't deal with white men, and she don't have an issue with white men at all. She said, "Look, I'm the product of that, and I'm proud. I love that." But what she said is she told basically two stories over like 5 minutes of how they mistook her. Like at first when she was young, it's great, but when she got older and she was with her dad, she loves her dad, being with her dad as well as her mom, blah blah blah. She said that they mistook her for her dad for her husband, or her dad for her boyfriend. And her dad doesn't look particularly young. And just some of the like facial expressions that she had on her face was like some cartoon character shit. It was so fucking funny. And we're talking about like teachers and shit. We're not talking about like, okay, people just being assholes. We're talking about teachers, and both times it was women that did that. Boy, she lost her mind. That shit was so fucking funny. So it really wasn't she got some animosity against it. It was just that shit. It was like, yo, that shit goes deep. And then it's like, it's funny seeing it. And some black creators, they ain't, inputting their shit. They're just basically commenting on telling other black people what's going on from some tea standpoint. It's funny seeing it. It's funny seeing it. No, it wouldn't, because here's the thing. You said, but wouldn't a black man sticking up for a male identified black woman get tapped and zip? No, they wouldn't, because not even in the red pill space, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because you gotta understand the circumstances with how that's happening. If a woman is basically saying good things about black men, and they generally have a good, I'm not talking about a woman that they're just doing it for money, but they're defending black men, and then other women are calling her a pick-me, let's say a Shay Sade, or a Didi, or a Reba TV, and then black men are sticking up for that, that's not considered simping, because what are you simping for? Simping is just a woman sexually, simping is when dudes are giving more than what they're getting. That's when you're simping. That's when you're simping. So no, it wouldn't be considered simping at all. It would not be considered simping at all. And quite frankly, dudes are really not. What happens is when dudes get caught simps when they make excuses for bad female behavior. Oh, that's a female. That's when dudes start getting called simps. Or when dudes are pandering to women for gain. That's when dudes get called simps. That's when dudes get called simps. I personally think we have a lot more discernment about simping, calling people simps. The women basically are calling women pick me in order to control their behavior. They really don't have a reason. They just, oh, if you're taking a woman's side, a man's side for any reason, they're just gonna call you a pick me. And my point is, we try to act like this stuff is equal, and it's not. These women are trying to control men by sexual undermining black men. And they do that at a kid level. They groom black men very young to operate in a certain way. And if the men were doing that with the females, they would call that shit abuse. They would call that shit grooming. They would call that shit abuse. And they would low-key try to get niggas locked up for that type of shit. Like, straight up. I don't... Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, they're a little bit more. He said, "I don't fuck with Asians. Had non-Asian boyfriends." It's a mindset. I know. I definitely get that. I definitely get that. I definitely feel you on that. And people think, and a lot of things that people don't talk about. Because nobody really would have the reason to when they talk about where Asian men line up on the dating ring. It really has nothing to do with like Asian male attractiveness. It's really more about Western compatibility. Asian men are considered, Eastern, and so the West is really not built around what Asian men. I mean, obviously there's universal principles. But there's universal principles. But like, let's keep it all the way real. Like, Bruce Lee is a bad motherfucker. Nobody's gonna. But and in the West, he was popular in the West. Typically, it's kind of like if you got a regular Bruce Lee, it's a culture compatibility issue. And even if you go to, they'll tell you go to certain Asian kind of like China, what their beauty standard is not exactly the same as ours, which is why, white women can't just go into China or go into Asia and clean up like that. White men can, but white men might be able to, but white women can't. That's something that doesn't get talked about. White women don't really do well in Asia like that. Asian people are not thirsting over white people, white men, white women, like, Asian women, the situation where Asian women and white men. But people don't like to talk about that because they can't just throw easy racial kind of platitudes on that because, they want to call somebody a model minority. So if you start using racial shit on a model minority, you kind of look bad. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, Bruce Lee. Yeah, that's messed up what happened with him and his son, man. That's like some John F. Kennedy shit. It really is. That's crazy. Like how his whole family. That's crazy. But even when you look at like the popularity of anime and shit like that shit is getting popular as hell. Even with K-pop, even though K-pop is kind of a remix of 1980s black music, but anime isn't. Yeah. Like you seeing whole shit, like this is what I was talking about when I talked about like what Kanye West could have potentially did with the community. You're starting to see that. And people talk about hip hop ain't dead. I mean, hip hop needs to be subdued a little bit. I'm not against that. Not against that at all. And especially with AI, he's helping to promote a lot of that. So yeah, but that's something that doesn't get talked about in that situation. It's really not an attractiveness thing. It's a cultural thing. And it's just certain Western. This is why I keep talking about when you talk about certain dudes, they don't. It's just it's like it's not even so much. Oh, they can't win and what. It's not so much that. It's more certain things just are not amicable. Well, how do black men do well? Well, black men can do well because part of one of the reasons we do well is because we're considered the bad boys. We kind of operate in a warrior class kind of situation, and white men didn't really want to intend that. But what happens is white men are a product of shit being too easy for them, kind of like on some Batman Dark Knight shit. And so what happens is a lot of them are starting to get nerdy as hell because they don't have no struggle because they don't go through shit because they not getting fucked with like we getting fucked with. This is why you see all these white females. You see all these white females fucking with these underage students on the way. Like they go through cycles. They fuck with these underage students, but then they turn out racist later on some Megyn Kelly shit. That's not by accident. Because it's them not really knowing how to fit their own sexual attractiveness with white supremacy. And that's why black men gotta be real careful in dealing with white women. Because they can switch up on you for that very purpose. Like niggas be thinking, oh man, she white. That means she wants to deal with black men because she's fucking black men. That's that sexual confusion. That's all that is. That's that sexual confusion. And black men get caught up on that. Black women do too. And it's 2025 and motherfuckers is still pretending because your coochie and their dick is getting hard and their coochie tingling. That's all it takes for you to act like racism don't exist. At this point, Darwinism needs to run its course. When people are on that type of shit, you need to just let Darwinism run its course. I'm not sitting here advocating for women or something to happen to them because they did. But when you sit here and you show your belly to somebody that's shown that they'll harm you, at that point, it's a Darwinism issue. That's what that is. That is a Darwinism issue. It ain't nothing to say. It ain't nothing to say. Anyway. He said both the tethers and FBAs. Oh, because she had a bubble. It's going to be interesting because I think you're going to see a real rise. You're going to definitely see a rise in black men dealing with Asian women. I think you got to see a real uptick in that with anime and how these. I think the alpha generation, because technically my brother is like a quarter Japanese. My youngest brother is a quarter Japanese. His grandmother is full Japanese, and his dad is mixed. I won't get into the particulars on that because that's its own thing that really don't really have nothing to do with me. But yeah, so but yeah, you're gonna see an uptick on that with the alpha generation. It's gonna be a big uptick on that, in my opinion. Big uptick. Which is gonna be a problem for black women because the black women, because this kind of hood shit, this hood shit, where black women are basically dealing with hood niggas and they can't shake that off. It's gonna fuck them up in later on in their dating choices because people gonna start identifying that and be like, nah, I'm not dealing with that. That's gonna start locking them in the underclass. Yeah, I've seen Miles Garrett girlfriend. Yeah, and I'm here's the thing. The thing with black men though is you got Blasian. Blasian is pretty much more in the black side than it isn't, to be honest with you, because of the cultural issues with other groups. So Blasian is pretty much black people's to not deal with, to deal with or not. Then you got the South Asian one, which has its own thing, because again, a lot of South Asians, other Asians ain't trying to deal with either. So again, that's why I've always not understood. See, Xanatos Clutch is the one he want like what Miles Garrett got. Suni, what's her name? Suni Lee, the Olympic gymnast. She was talking crazy, talking about I need a man to be generous. I'm like, there's no way you had that nigga you was with. That nigga you was with, it was like 6'2", paying for your friends. You can kiss my ass with that bullshit. That sounds like some shit that you aiming at white boys. And I'm like, hey, if you aiming at it white boys, I'm not mad at it, but you gonna get some generous dick. That's what you gonna get. I need a man to be generous. Oh hell yeah, we'll be generous as hell with that dick. You gonna get generous dick. That must be what current you must be talking about. Dick coin. That's what you must be talking about. You ain't talking about fiat currency. Sorry, ma'am. That goes against my value. Well, I just need a man to be generous. I'm sorry, ma'am. That goes against my value. That goes against my value system. Muslims don't eat pork. I don't trick on a hoe. It's just my culture. I apologize. This nigga naming. This nigga naming porn. This nigga naming porn stars. Amina Green. Well, I'm not even making a claim to nobody. I mean, women the Blasians are not like regular Asians are not trying to deal with Blasians like that. So they're not about to get mad at no Blasian. And then Hmong is it goes both ways. But the thing about Hmong chicks is they tend to have the body types, like Suni Lee's ethnicity, they tend to have the body types that Asians don't like. Because they don't, and white men don't like. Suni Lee is not the typical Hmong body type. And I'm gonna tell you something. And I'm gonna say this straight up. Once as a black dude, you see some of these ass, and when you see like one of these South Asians with ass, you don't want to deal with no fucking cellulite fucking bullshit that black women be dealing with. Cause now you know. Cause at that point, that's why I be telling y'all don't be knowing the difference. You can tell the niggas, y'all don't be knowing the difference. Y'all be dealing with a bitch that's obese. Once you see the difference, you be like, nah, fuck that. Bitch, I'm gonna get your ass in the gym and get that smooth the fuck out. Cause now I believe. Do you believe? Yeah, now I see it. I see what the shit can be. Now, so the point is, before you even get into like, yeah, Xanatos Clutch be wanting the same regular Asians, and look, they're attractive. I'm not saying they're attractive, but even in a lot of Chinese women. There's Chinese women that they're considered ugly in China because they would be considered white to us, but because they ain't got that damn fucking glowing, bright white skin, which to a lot of black people is too white. They be like, "Oh, you're ugly," and this is not to say because some white. It was a video where it was like some southern, like a southern Chinese chick. Um, and she was with a hillbilly. It was like, "Why you with a hillbilly?" And he said, "Because the hillbilly think I'm beautiful. In China, I would be considered ugly." And this is a chick who was attractive. This is a chick who's attractive. So that goes both ways in the West. Like in the West, in the East, it's like certain women that you would be like, "Oh, they crazy. Oh, she's considered ugly." And these women are not ugly. Like they're not even ugly on white people standards. These are when, which by the way is something that doesn't get talked about either. That's another thing that doesn't get talked about is a lot of these chicks be campaigning. I'm not saying this is all the way the case. I'm not even saying this is most of the case. I won't even go as far as to say this is some of the case. I may say this is like 10%, maybe like 8% of what goes on. But a lot of what goes on is a lot of these women be campaigning for whiteness because in Asia, or in obviously the beauty standards depend on the country, but in Asia they would be considered not attractive, but in white America they're considered attractive, and so you have that kind of going on too. You have that going on too, but that's not. I'm not even gonna say that's most of what it is. I wouldn't even say that's some of what it is, but that's something in there to make a note. That's what I would say. That's something in there to keep in mind. So they be like, yo, this beauty thing is bullshit because the Western beauty standard has me on a higher tier. And shit, these white boys are more desired anyway. So what the fuck? And remember, 60% of the world is Asian. And if you take out Indians, that's still like 45%. That's still like 45%. Or like 50%. Just keep that in mind. So it's a lot of those dynamics that people don't pay attention to. Anyway, I'll probably split this video in a couple of different videos. I don't know what she's facing 15 years for. I have to look that up. He said I only date Blasian if their mother was Korean. They got those. Now, and so when you see all of that and you get exposed to all of that, you really start to get intolerant to what black females be on. Because, and that's why they don't want niggas traveling. Let's just keep that all the way real. Anyway, y'all, it's been great hanging out with y'all, but I gotta go. This is Edward signing off. Peace.